Steve Chettle joins me tonight. It's a training night, but he's taken sort of 10 minutes out of his time today to talk about the importance of an academy to a club like Basford. What does the academy bring to a club at this level of non-league?
It gives us structure from underneath, really. You know, we run a programme at Basford, obviously at grassroots level from under 9s right up to under 16s. I've just spoken to under 16s tonight about their pathway and what they want to do when they leave the school, you know, when they get to under 16. So it gives opportunity to keep people within the Basford family, get them a good education, hopefully get them a pathway to get around the first team, or even go on to become a professional footballer one day, like Craig Lamont did last year.
Yeah, we look at you talk about professional football. You get some players who have been in the academies of professional clubs up to the age of 16, and for whatever reason they find themselves being released and without a club. And this is the sort of structure that can give them a route back into pro football, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's the same programme that Forest run. It's the same programme that Notts County and Mansfield run. It's obviously just done at Basford United. Same, they're in every day for education. We've got 4 teams this year in a games programme. We've now entered under 19s works at Van High League, where last week we beat Sheffield United in our first fixture, which was fantastic. But like I say, we've got 50 scholars, 4 teams, so everybody plays football every week as long as they're getting a good education.
And the emphasis, how much emphasis is put on results and winning as opposed to developing players?
The whole emphasis is the kids get an education, first and foremost. They have to leave here being better people, getting qualifications to go out to do whatever they want to, whether it be football or they're going to the big wide world to find a job or going to university. So that's the whole idea. Football itself is, we kind of find ourselves 100% developmental. We try and teach them how to win games. It's under 18s, and if they get to round the first team, we want to win games week in, week out. So it's a bit of everything. We have a full syllabus, work on everything that the first team work on, but obviously they have their education between time that they don't enjoy as much as the football, but it's a massive part of their day.
And the education football training side, is that split 50-50, or is there more emphasis on
No, it's split 50-50 on, I think, 3 of the days. One day is just education and one day is just football. So 3 of the 5 days are in Monday to Friday, so 3 days is split education football, and one day is match day and one day is education only.
What sort of percentage of players who come to clubs like Basford's Academy have been released from pro clubs?
I think this year we've got a player who was ex-Nottingham Forest, 1 ex-Notts County, 1 from Chesterfield, 2 from Mansfield. So it's not everybody. A lot of the kids have come through local football, especially from Basford's grassroots and foundation phase and youth phases, so which is fantastic for us because we want to keep this continuity from players progressing from under 9s right up to 16s and hopefully get somebody in the first team soon.
For a player who has been released from a pro club, they've probably been there for 3-4 years, how difficult is it for them to adjust then to life away from a pro club and coming into a non-league club? And what is your role in sort of helping that development or that easing that transition?
Well, my background is being from professional academies, so I'm trying to bring that mentality and the syllabus and the curriculum into Basford. So it's a learning process for the coaches. We've got 2 new coaches this year. We've got obviously our full-time sports therapist, myself running the football here. But like I say, we've got 50 kids who are learning their education, who's also learning a new way of playing football through what we're delivering.
And if a player, come the end of their academy years are over and they haven't made it into Basford's team or back into pro football, the education side, that gives them a real good foothold to take another career, doesn't it, away from football?
Yeah, well, the minimum they leave with is an education. They go away from here hopefully being a better person and having something to walk away from here if the football doesn't work out, where they go into university or go into the big wide world and find work, which at the end of it all, we have to provide a service, and 90% of it for us, the most important thing is, we're going to get people who have a decent education.
Yeah. Oh, well, look, players as well, they do make it back into pro football, like you've said earlier on. But you've worked with players at the Ilkeston FC Academy a few years ago, along with Kevin Wilson, didn't you? And you had the likes of Shay Adams and Ash Hunt, who came from pro clubs, released and back in. What does that feel to you? What does that give to you when you see a play like that, especially Shay now, who's in the Premier League?
Oh, it's great. And when Shay came in, he wasn't the complete article. He was a kid that got let go by Coventry and been around with Leicester and just played local football. But when we got Shay, he had something different. I think the majority of these kids don't conform sometimes to academies, and they're a little bit more of a maverick and a bit of sometimes they're a bit of a loose cannon, and we have to try and temper that as well. But as long as you see something and you can work with them, as long as they're prepared to work hard, we'll give them the best tools we can to hopefully make them something in football.
I said, was Shay one of those loose cannons you talk about?
No, Shay was a complete maverick. Shay was another one that didn't really have a position to play in. Same as Ash, same as Callum when he left Forest at 16. They just came into a team, and you kind of have lots of misfits put into a team, and you have to mould somebody to become this player. But the inner drive comes from the kids. They want to succeed, and like I say, Shay is a shining light for something that has gone from being grassroots and been let go to now working in the Premier League, which is an unbelievable story.
And obviously that gives you a great pride, doesn't it? Seeing someone you've worked with to now make it into the Premier League. And do you think he'll play for England one day?
I don't know. I think he's just got his feet under the table in the Premier League, so I'll give him a year or two. But he's got all the facets to be a top player, and he's done fantastic well for himself.
So he is looking at people like Shane and Ash Hunter. That is something for these lads at this academy. They look, and for some of them might think, "Oh, my route to football. I've left a pro club. I'm not going to get back there." They can look at these players, can't they? And it gives them a goal, something to strive for.
Yeah, it proves it works, and they are long shots, and it doesn't always work. And Shay is, like I say, an Ash, and playing in the league, playing in the Championship, and playing in the Premier League, and Ash playing in League One. They are shining lights for these kids who want to achieve something. But it's hard work, and they've got to put the hours in, like we say. But the majority of the time is they've got to toe the line in school. If they don't toe the line in school, they don't play during the week. So it is tough. But to survive, you've got to be mentally tough as well.
Like you say there as well, if they don't perform in the education, they don't play. That must be a big driving force to make these kids want to learn as well. Some of them who maybe haven't come from very good education backgrounds, it can make them sort of realise that they have to, if they want to play football, they have to.
Well, when they stood up and they spoke about, what's their name, what's their favourite club, and why you're at Basford, 99% of the kids said, "I just want to play football." But to play football, you have to do your work. So we did, along with the education provider, we made sure that everybody knows the rules. You behave in school, you'll play football. Don't behave, you're behind with your work, you'll catch up with your work first, because that takes priority.
That's great. Cheers. Thanks for your time in talking to us, Chettle, and letting us know a little bit how the academy works. Thank you.
Thanks, mate.